We're good to go.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to today's hearing for the Mall Convenience Store. My name is Councillor Amajit Chemu, and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues are Councillor John Martin and Councillor Tariq Mahmood, comprised of today's subcommittee. However, I need to let everyone know that I was the chair of the LSE meeting that revoked the license of this premises previously with the old applicant. I just want to check with everybody, is it okay with the applicant for me to chair this committee today? Mr. Panchal?
Yes, let me put it like that. We have full confidence in yourself. We are not going to dispute anything, Chair. We have full confidence in your dealing with the licensing committees.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Panchal. I just wanted to run that past you before we commenced, so that everybody was on the same wavelength. And you know what we're going to do is base everything on what we hear today. So I shall go back to my chair's guide. Okay, our legal advisor today is going to be Hatun Zeb. She's the legal advisor to the subcommittee.
Councillor Jamu, sorry, did you want to go live at this stage?
I thought he'd gone live already.
Yeah, we're already live, sorry.
Okay, it didn't come up on my screen, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Sean O'Brien is the Democratic Services Officer, who is the clerk to the subcommittee and who will be minuting the meeting. I'm going to introduce the report now, and you would have all have received and seen the agenda pack, within which is contained the licensing officer's report and details of the application in section 1.0. To confirm, we are dealing with a new premises license application in relation to the Mall Convenience Store, Unit 2, 48 The Mall, Ealing W5 3TJ. We have received 2 objections from the following responsible authorities: Bob Deere of the Licensing Compliance and Enforcement Team, and Vicky Hewson from the Metropolitan Police, represented today by Sergeant Kessar. In accordance to make the representations, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee Democratic Services Officer, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the day. Well, it says here 3:30, but we can rearrange that as required, and will be confirmed in writing as well. If the panel cannot reach a decision today, you'll be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. Okay, thank you for that. Now I've got my chair's checklist. I'd like to welcome all attendees, but in particular, I'd like to ask all those present and intending to speak to introduce themselves. Can we start with you, please, Mr. Panchal?
Yeah, I'm Mr. Panchal, representing the applicant, Mr. Tejpal Singh, who's present with me. I'll be presenting the application and I will be talking on behalf, but you're happy to answer. He's happy to answer any questions if asked.
Okay, thank you. And that's Tejpal Singh sitting with you, is it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Bob, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Chair. Bob Deere, Licensing Compliance and Enforcement Team, Ealing Council.
Thank you. And Kessler, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Chair and panel. It's Sergeant Dimitri Kassar representing the Metropolitan Police Service. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sergeant. Sean, can we please change, put Sergeant in front of Sergeant Kassar Dimitri, please, so that as it's going live, it needs to be done in a proper format.
Unfortunately, Chair,
Thank you very much.
I can't change usernames.
Oh, you can't?
Well, not on Teams, I'm afraid, sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, no worries. Thank you very much. Okay, I've explained the procedure to you and you know exactly which way we are heading. I'd now like to invite the licensing officer to introduce the application.
Oh, Chair, we don't have licensing officers who come for these hearings anymore.
I do apologize. I do apologize. I should have, sorry, it's these papers that have been sent to me are actually slightly out of date. I do apologize. I'd like to invite the applicant to present the application, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. This is an application we've made for our company's made for Mr. Tejpal Singh. The premises, as you are aware, is the Mall Convenience Store, Unit 248, the Mall, Ealing, W53TJ. The applicant, Mr. Tejpal Singh, has got a personal license since 2012. He's been trading in the off-license trade way beyond the new Licensing Act came in. He has worked in the Shepherd's Bush Wine Mart 2001 onwards. After the new Licensing Act came in, he also worked in, he still carried on working in the new Mini Punjab, and there were no breaches on his license. He also took up Lansing Food and Wine from 2015 to 2018. Yeah. He then acquired Mini Punjab in Southall from 2021 onwards till present. He has had no breaches carried out. He has worked in a proper manner. He understands the 4 licensing objectives. At the premises, he's going to promote the 4 licensing objectives robustly. He understands that it is in a special policy of the council. He understands how he will be able to manage that. A training manual will be carried out at the premises, a refusal book, an incident book. Chairman, I've got it in front of me here, will be present at the premises. All the necessary posters required by the section guidance. He will be following the Challenge 25 scheme at the premises. He shall be having the CCTV posters. He will be having a notice to live quietly, considering the nuisance condition. He will be logging in all the people who will be working for him. He will be training them from the training manual. He will make sure that the premises license will be, a copy of the premises license will be in the training manual. A right to work checklist will be carried out for all the people working at the premises, and all the documents will be attached into that into that section. A section 57 notice will also be put up to, when the DPS is not around, that who will be in charge, notifying. There will be also authorization of sale of alcohol under section 57 and a separate authorization for all the staff working at the premises. He will have a staff training register so that all the staffs are trained every 6 months. All staff employed initially will be trained under the BII level 1 course. After they have started working, they will be sent onto the BII course, apart from the training given by the DPS himself. So, ma'am, that is how he's going to be promoting the 4 licensing objectives at the premises. We do understand that this premises had a problem prior to that he's buying. the premises has had a problem and its license was revoked, and you do understand that at that particular revocation you were part of the committee. And if you look at the bundle on page 19, we have put down some conditions in the application that will be followed. One of the major conditions, because of it's been in a special
Mr. Panchal, we didn't hear a word you said. Mr. Panchal?
Yeah, I'm with you.
We didn't hear a word. We didn't hear a word you said. Could you repeat yourself, please?
Where can I repeat it from? Which one did you
Just
know?
the last few lines.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at page 19 of the operating schedule of the application. And in the operating schedule, we have put down all the necessary promotion of the 4 licensing objectives. And we are considering a few of the conditions that I'm going to go through, as this is in a special policy area. The premise is in a special policy area. And one of them, because it's in a special policy area and the council's licensing policy, there will be no stock of sale. The condition 10 of that would be there will be no stock or sale of high strength alcohol 5.5 and above. The other condition that we put down, the condition 11, there will be no single cans of beer, lager, or cider sold at the premises. Condition 12, which states no miniatures will be sold, in order to make sure that the policy is obeyed, because under the special policy, it has been put up because there are criminal activities around the area. My client does understand the area very well. The other conditions that we are suggesting, that the previous license holder, condition number 18, we are saying the previous license holder shall ensure the previous, sorry. Yes, condition 16 that I'm relating to, previous management who owned the business or had any involvement, Mr. Ajit Singh and Mr. Parmjit Singh Wadua, shall not be allowed to enter the property. They shall be banned from the premises. That is what we are putting down from the previous license being revoked. Ma'am, we are happy to take any matters, and if you wish, my client understands the area and would like to say a few words about how he is going to be promoting the area, how he is going to be promoting the shop, if he buys the shop. The other matter that I would like to bring to you is we have put down that there will be a management contract in place, but thereafter the management contract, we're happy to have a condition that within 2 to 3 months, we will be able to provide the lease transferred into my client's name. That matters will be discussed with the lawyers who will be appointed to go ahead with the lease if the license is granted. So, Chairman, ma'am, that is our presentation today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Panchal. Before I'm going to open up to questions. Before I do that, Mr. Panchal, it's with regard to what you've just said just now. I just want some clarification. Has he already made this purchase, or is he looking to purchase these premises?
He has discussed the purchase matters with the previous owners. He has come to the conclusion that he is a certain amount that is agreed between the previous owner and the present owner and the present incoming owner. He will be carrying on subject to him getting this license, because financially the property will not be viable if there is no license at the premises. So this matter will go ahead, as I've said, subject to granting of this license.
Okay, Mr. Panchal, I'd like to open up questions to my colleagues, councillors. Do you have questions for Mr. Panchal, Mr. Sethi?
Yes, Chair, I have a question. Yeah.
Councillor Mahmood, yes, please ask.
Yeah, Thank you very much. It looks like you are covering, you know, the condition 10, 12, and 16. But what's your view as an incoming owner? How you can assure these condition will be achievable by you, and how you can more assure us that will be followed accordingly?
Your question.
Sorry,
Sorry, yeah.
I'll try my best and I can check everything all the time. I'll manage full time to work on it and have to sort everything.
Okay.
He
Does
does,
that
let me,
satisfy your
I have the experience, but if you go, I know that don't drunk to sell to drunk people or children underage or these things. I keep eye on everything. I got
You
CCTV
understand the
cameras.
conditions.
Yeah, understand the conditions, everything.
And through
Yes,
you,
I-
Chair, do you understand the how difficult is to achieve the full license objective on a special policy area where the residential unit upstairs to you?
I understand. I know that quite busy area and so many shops are there. But still, I can see if the drunk people came, I don't serve, especially children. I keep eye on them. Especially, I can put my CCTV properly 31 days every month. I can check. I train my staff, everything, because I've had experience from 20 years, last 20 years, and I think I'll manage.
Mr. Sethi?
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Panchal did speak about your experience, you know, in his presentation. Thank you, Mr. Panchal. However, I would like to ask you, what do you understand as the special policy area? Because this particular establishment is in the special policy area. What is your understanding of special policy area? How will it differ from your previous experience?
Special means the busy area, the quite more shops there of license, mostly pub is there, people passing around like a station there, everything there, busy, quite busy area. Then we can keep eye on them, everything.
Drinkers both of me.
And also drink like drunk people don't want to serve them or underage or something like this. And especially on children, we keep eye.
Okay. I'm not too clear on your answer, but I will get back to you in a little while. Councillor Martin, do you have any questions for Mr. Panchal or Mr. Sethi?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Mr. Sethi, you seem to have some experience, but could you just tell me what the 4 licensing objectives are?
Tension of time and these are over direct 4 licensing objectives.
Also,
So, अपने बता दें ये.
Public safety.
ये उनको बोलो.
Yeah, public safety.
Mm-hmm.
And waste collection. Not to be drunk, serve drunk people. Children from harm. Child and ID 25 years.
Crime and disorder. 11.
And previous of crime and disorder.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask, premises where you've had your experience before, what areas were they in?
Shepard,
Where have you worked previously? Which areas did you work in previously?
Shepard was 274 Oxford Road, W73RW.
So you have worked in the Ealing area before?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Punjab, mini Punjab is in the Ealing area. It's under the Ealing area.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. I wasn't aware of that. Thank you. Okay. I'm now going to open up the questions to anyone else who's got any questions you want to raise.
Chair, it might be an opportunity to ask the responsible authorities, perhaps Mr. Deer, and then.
Yes, I was going to. Yes, thank you, Hattie. Yes, I was going to go to that, but I've just got one more question for Mr. Sethi, Mr. Sethi, in your own words, not Mr. Panchal's words, please. What do you understand by the word Challenge 21?
I have to ask ID if I have doubt on it, because of the 21, under 21, I don't sell alcohol to them. No cigarettes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Who'd like to go first? Bob, Mr. Dear? Yes, please. You may ask your questions.
Mr. Sethi, you mentioned that you've, I don't know if you've got a premises or been at a premises in Ealing. You mentioned Mini Punjab. Can you tell us, is that in Southall?
In Southall, yeah.
27 Victoria Road, is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And when was you there?
Last 3 years.
You don't. Yep, you don't own the shop, do you?
No.
You just work in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's also a DPS.
DPS also.
At the premises.
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you go there in 2021? Oh, that's 3 years ago. So when did you go to that premise, start working at that premises?
Nearly 3 years ago.
Nearly 3 years ago.
2021 onwards.
When, sorry?
So he's 2021 onwards.
Yeah, but which month in January? Sorry, 2021.
What's your name?
He
doesn't remember the month.
Are you still there?
Still, DPS there, yeah, still.
DPS there. And how often do you go there?
Weekly, twice.
Twice weekly. And have you got the other businesses in Shepherd's Bush? You mentioned somewhere in W7 just now as well.
A long time ago. This one I sold it on 2014.
Okay. You mentioned W7 earlier as well.
Yeah.
What premises is that in W7?
274 Oxbridge Road. Why?
What's it called? Sorry. No, you broke up. Sorry.
274 Wine Mart.
Oxbridge Road. 274.
W7.
And what?
Yeah. 3RW.
3RW. Okay. So you know about the history of this premises?
Which one? The Wine Mart?
No, sorry. You appreciate the history behind Costcutter / the Mall.
Yeah, I know this.
Yeah. And when did you take over that premises?
If I get the license, we got paperwork, everything with the solicitor. We're just waiting for the license. If you get the license, then you go ahead.
Okay, because I visited that premises, Costcutter, on the 9th of July of this year, and the two staff members in there said that the new boss had already taken over.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
So they were lying, Mr. Sethi, were they?
I don't know.
You don't know? Why would they say that you've already taken over and you had actually hired them? Because they were both two new members of staff.
I didn't hire anything. Just ask him who's the owner, who's the new owner. Ask them name. If I didn't get anything, I'm waiting for my papers with solicitor working, everything due because I'm waiting for the license. If I don't have the license, why should I buy the license? For no reason.
Okay, so you've been to the premises before then?
Twice.
And you spoke to these two new members of staff, and
No,
you said,
I didn't see them. I didn't see them. I speak to the owner.
All right, okay. Do you know what date that was?
I think 8 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
8 weeks. 8 weeks.
8 weeks ago.
8 weeks ago. Okay. No further questions this time, Chair. Thank you.
I think the screen froze there. You might want to ask that question again, Mr. Dare.
I asked Mr. Sethi when he had taken over. Sorry, when he had last been in the premises, and he said he spoke to the owner 8 weeks ago. And I've got no other questions at this time, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Mr. Sergeant Kassar Dimitri.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Panchal and Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, if I can just ask you a few questions, if I may. Regarding the 4 licensing objectives and aware of the history of this particular venue, could I ask, in terms of preventing children from harm, what policies will you have in place from not selling vapes, cheap cigarettes to young children? Because ultimately this also falls within the realm of public safety in terms of the personal public health, in terms of the personal health of young people.
We can sell to that. We got the challenge like this. We got everything that we display that under 25.
Okay, but displaying a notice doesn't necessarily mean you're going to prevent that from happening. So
Yes.
what are you going to physically do in order to prevent young children from purchasing cheap vapes, which ultimately has a negative impact on their health?
Challenge 25.
Yeah.
Policy, yeah.
Sorry?
Challenge 25 policy.
Okay, but what are you going to do? As in, what are you physically going to do? How are you going to challenge these young children or these kids that may appear older than what they are?
Like always, I'm asking ID. If you have the doubt, we can ask ID all the time.
Okay. In terms of the venue itself, as we know, and as we've all alluded to.
We can't actually hear you because the screen did freeze a little while ago. Sergeant Kessler was going to asking you what you were going to do about it. Sergeant Kessler, do you want to ask that question again, please?
Yes, sure, Chair. I do apologise. With regards to physical prevention, Mr. Singh, what are you physically going to do to prevent children or young adults, as in young people, from purchasing vapes, cheap vapes and cheap cigarettes?
Ask ID guys first if I have the doubt on it.
Okay, and where would you store these in your premises?
What, like this display?
No, the vapes.
The vapes.
No, where would you put the vapes?
Behind the counter.
Behind the counter.
Yeah.
Okay, and what if they came to you and asked you for, say, the actual liquid of the vapes?
We don't sell this one. I don't have.
Okay, so you don't sell that. Fair enough.
I'm not sure about the. I'm not sure about the old previous owner. He's selling the note, but I'm not selling.
Okay. In terms of the other licensing objectives, as we know, it's in a special policy area. In terms of conflict resolution, what are you going to do, or what have you got in place in terms of conflict management with regards to drunks coming in, people who are inebriated that might not only put your staff in turmoil, but members of public?
Does I speak to the gentleman like politely? I don't serve them, like just handle it properly, easily. Not serve them. That's the main point. And tell them to leave their premises peacefully. That's it.
Okay, and in terms of making, I understand you have to make a living and that you have to run a business. So in terms of making, say, the alcohol difficult to get to, what type of preventative measures will you have in the shop itself? So with the cans of lager, etc.
Yes, soft drinks separately in the fridge, or lagers in the different fridge. Alcohol, like spirit, on behind the counter. Wines on the left hand side, normally they have on the shelf. That's it.
And in terms of the fridges, is there any other considerations you think you could put in place?
No.
Lockables.
Just on a like a storage.
Okay. Chair, I think in terms of your CCTV,
31 days.
you've said you're going to hold it for 31 days. Is that correct?
Yeah.
When it comes to obtaining CCTV, if you make an allegation of crime, etc., what training will you give your staff, and after the training, will that be readily accessible to police if and when they attend to record a crime and try and attempt to solve it?
They're able to download everything from the camera, and they will help. If they are the police, we can download all the time. We can give them. That's no problem.
But what I'm saying is, will you be the only person who will be able to download it, or will your staff be able to download it as well?
Staff also.
Okay. And in terms of special policy area, again, I understand you need to make a living and that you're looking to run your business. What do you think you can do to prevent or dissuade those type of people coming into your premises in order to prevent and uphold the 4 licensing objectives?
I understand that we have to no serve like strong beers above 5%, miniatures. I can heard that everything.
Okay. Chair, I haven't got anything at this stage. Mr. Singh, thank you for answering my questions. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant. I have got Robert Deere put his hand up. Was that previous hand or is that a new one?
No, Chair, I was just going to ask that it's very off-putting when the Sergeant is asking a question and Mr. Sethi is answering it and Mr. Panchal is speaking through his hand. I can hear him quite clearly prompting him. If he wants to present a case for him, please present it, but don't, mumble, because I can hear it quite clearly. I'm sure other people can as well. Thank you.
Chair, I do understand that sometimes some of my clients' English is a second language. So I'm just trying to prompt him to say what the Sergeant is asking or what he should be answering. He can answer. He's got quite a good experience. May I repeat again? He's got quite a good experience in no-fly licenses. He's been our client since last 10-15 years. So we do understand his position in running the Mini Punjab, because Mini Punjab is also, he has always been to us. We supply him the training manuals, the posters and everything, and that he's been doing it. And that is one of the reasons he doesn't breach any conditions of his license.
Thank you, Mr. Panchal, and thank you, Mr. Deere, for bringing that to our attention as well. Mr. Sethi, can I ask you another question, please? Now, from what you've said, I'm just trying to establish, have you, I understand that you've been working in lots of different, establishments, and you've got various amount and different types of experience. Have you actually got experience as a manager to actually run the place?
Manager?
Yes. Are you a manager of any of these places? Where are you working now? Or are you working now?
No, I don't have any managers, because all is only a couple of staff.
No, you haven't answered my question, Mr. Panchal. Have you worked as in a management capacity in any of these establishments?
That is one of the reasons now that you heard Mr. Bob Deere say to me that I'm murmuring, and that is why now you asked a question which he did not understand the question correctly. And my view is
I can actually ask him in his own language if the committee will allow me to.
Yes, please. Well, Chairman, it'll be much easier.
Can I have permission from everyone to ask him the same question in his language, because I do speak the same language? Is that okay? Chair. Can I have a hand up or something?
Go ahead, Chair. Go ahead.
Chair, from my perspective, I have no issues.
Mr. Panchal, sorry, Mr. Sethi de naal gall karan lagi hegi aa. Okay. Mr. Sethi, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਾਫੀ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੁਕਾਨ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਿਆ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਿਰਫ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਡਰ ਸੀ?
ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਨਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਟਾਫ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੀ। 2 ਸਟਾਫ, ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਜਾਂ 2 ਸਟਾਫ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ। ਮੇਰੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੱਡੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ 15-20 ਸਟਾਫ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਨਾ। ਜਸਟ ਓਨਲੀ 2 ਸਟਾਫ, 1 ਸਟਾਫ, ਦੈਟਸ ਇਟ। ਹੁਣ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਹੈ। I'll manage easily.
Okay, let me explain that to the panel first. Sorry, Hetty, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think the difficulty is going to be that Sean needs to take a note of what is being said. And if Mr. Sethi is able to speak English, he should be responding in English. The only other observation, just to make, Councillor Jammu, is that I concur with Mr. Dear's comment earlier to Mr. Panchal, and it's very clear in the audio, certainly from where I'm seated as well, that Mr. Panchal is leading Mr. Sethi in giving the answers rather than translating.
I totally agree with,
it's misleading of Mr. Panchal to make that comment that he's simply translating, because that's clearly not what is audible, even with his hand in front of his mouth.
Yeah. Thank you, Hetty. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. And I have also noticed that myself, and he did speak to him in the same language that I was speaking in. I was speaking in Punjabi, just for information. And all I asked Sean for your records was the exact same question that had already been asked. Has he actually got any management experience, or has he been, just working in these establishments? Okay, so that was the question. So Mr. Sethi, we are aware that you can answer in English. So please, can you answer that question again for the benefit of everybody here in English, please? And Mr. Panchal, please allow him to answer himself.
Yes, sure. The same question, Punjabi, which you asked me in Punjabi first.
Anji, answer in English, please. Thank you.
When I have the shops, there are only 1 or 2 staff at the moment, no more than this. I'll manage always. I don't have any difficulty till now. Still, I'm in the mini Punjab, only 1 staff there, then we can manage. I don't have like a many big company of 15 or 20 workers, or like employ people. Then I don't need to manage like this. Just only 1 or 2 staff that I can manage always, easy. Now at the moment, if I get this license, I got my wife, my son is young, 25. They're going to help me with me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Panchal. I've got 2 people who put their hand up now. Councillor Martin, you're first.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm just a bit confused, and if Mr. Sethi could really confirm what business it is that he has in Hanwell, and what was the postcode, because it all seemed to get muffled thanks to Mr. Panchal talking over him, I think.
Hanwell. Hanwell, yes. I don't have a business.
You mentioned a business in Hanwell.
Not Hanwell. W7, Shepherd Bush.
Well, W7 is Hanwell. W12. W12 is Shepherd Bush.
Sorry, my apologies. I had my mistake. That's my house.
So it's W12, is it? So you've never had a business.
274 W12 7JA.
So you've never had a business in Hanwell.
No, sir. So this is my house address. That's why
his house address is in Hanwell.
Yeah, this is W7, my house address. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Dear. Your question, Mr. Dear.
Thank you, Chair. The business in Shepherd's Bush, are you the DPS there?
The DPS, my brother, my partner, Mr. Avtar Singh Arora, that time.
Okay.
And he left, then I was 2 years DPS there.
So you've been the DPS in Shepherd's Bush. How many days do you work there?
6 days.
6 days, and you work up to 2 days then in Southall as a DPS at Mr. Grover's shop.
Yeah.
Mr. Grover still owns that shop, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And would you like to tell us what happened to that license in 2021?
I think they sell alcohol or cigarettes or something like that. I'm not sure, to be asking.
So, and he had to come off that license as a DPS. So you took over in name only. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No other questions, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, councillors, are there any other questions before I go on to? Okay, right. Thank you very much. Right, now I'm going to invite our responsible authorities who've made representation to present their case. Who'd like to go first, Bob or Sergeant Kassar? Mr. Dear?
Councillor, Chair, sorry, I can go first if you want. Bob, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob's given the go-ahead, Sergeant. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and panel. Chair, with regards to our representation, we ask for consideration. Whilst I understand Mr. Singh is applying currently for this license, not to grant this in terms of the mall is situated on a busy high road and it's located in a special policy area within the London Borough of Ealing. The special policy area where the mall is situated is largely affected by crime, antisocial behaviour, as we know, and it also has a high impact on the London ambulance service with regards to medical related calls, and by that I mean alcohol related calls. Whilst I'm not accusing this particular venue of being the sole contributing factor due to it being in an SPA, it is a contributing factor. As we are aware historically, and whilst I know Mr. Singh is not aware of this, previously when it was a cost cutter, the license was revoked on the 7th of February due to various indiscretions that took place. One was a large number of nitrous oxide was found at the premise on 2 separate visits. An appeal was submitted to the Magistrates Court, and I believe that's been withdrawn. Further to that, I believe I'm aware that our colleague from licensing for the council has attended the particular venue on the 5th of July this year, where there have been 2 misdemeanors in terms of the actual license. One is there were 2 staff on duty when, according to the license agreement, there should have been 3 staff on duty. And the other was the high strength beers were being sold. Again, I'm not accusing Mr. Singh of this, but I'm just stating this is our concerns that this may not be adhered to should a license be granted. I've also searched police indices, and there have been several reports regarding this particular venue. One on the 29th of April 2024, there's been an intelligence report, which I believe is still under scrutiny, where an informant has stated that the premise has allegedly been selling cheap vapes and alcohol to children. This concerns me because it does breach that licensing objective of preventing harm to children. There is a further intelligent report where a suspect under police caution was asked what he does, and he has stated to officers he was selling cheap cigarettes, vapes, and alcohol. What he was doing with stolen bottles of alcohol. He has stated to the officers that this was being sold to the premise in question. Phone calls to police stating that shoplifters have returned to the staff and called the boss, whereby it appears that due to this being an SPA, it's attracting the wrong type of clientele, as in alcoholics, drug users that cause the antisocial behaviour. So what I meant by that particular report on the 4th of February is that it is antisocial behaviour related. And so it goes on, Chair. With regards to this, these are my concerns from a policing perspective. And whilst having spoken to Mr. Singh, I think when he was asked by Councillor Martin about the 4 licensing objectives, I don't think he was fully aware of them, and I think it was pointed out to him by Mr. Panchal to read them off a sheet. Now, I'm not saying we should know these verbatim, but all I am saying is that there should be an element of understanding of these things. And just by this conversation here, Chair and panel, I don't believe that Mr. Singh does have the full understanding of that. That is my representation at this moment in time. Thank you very much for giving me your time, and I'll leave it to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant. I have got a hand up for questions, if that's okay, Sergeant. I've got Councillor Mahmood with his hand up.
Thank you, Sergeant, for your important feedback. But I just wanted to know, I missed that bit. You said selling cigarettes underage children, and you said it is still under investigation. What exactly you said?
I think the S&T are still looking at that. I don't have the full details of the whole report. I've just drawn that an abbreviated element from the crime report that I have, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions to Sergeant Kassar?
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, I was asking my councillor comrades first. Yes, no? Okay, Mr. Penchel.
Coming back to the 4 licensing objectives, may I make it absolutely clear to the Sergeant, I run courses for APLH level 2, and in part of the course in APLH level 2 is states clearly that clients or candidates who are learning APLH level 2 are human beings and they are not computers. They are allowed, again I stress very clearly, they are allowed to write the 4 licensing objectives and keep it in their pocket or whatever, and as and when required they are allowed to read those out, and then it is their incentive to show how they would promote those 4 licensing objectives. So there is a card that comes in which states what the 4 licensing objectives are, and this card can be kept in the pocket, and anytime that you are asked what are the 4 licensing objectives, you are supposed to read those licensing objectives, but to explain how those are going to be promoted, which are you happy that he has managed to do that for you?
So, Mr. Panchal, are you asking, am I satisfied that Mr. Singh understands the 4 licensing objectives? Is that what you're asking me, sir?
Yes, whether he, in promoting the 4 licensing, he explained to you, how he is going to be promoting those 4, that the CCTV will be provided, that is part and parcel of the licensing objectives.
I hear you. I still think in some of Mr. Singh's answers, I think there were some really vague replies, and my concern is when it does come to especially preventing harm to children and public health, I am concerned about. And again, I did preface this by saying, whilst I'm not accusing Mr. Singh of any of this, I'm just saying these are concerns I have due to the historic nature of the venue. And obviously, I'm not tarring Mr. Singh with the previous owner's brush, but it's just a concern that I have. That is all I'm saying, Mr. Panchal.
Yeah, and he did. He has served Mini Punjab, as you heard from Bob Deere, that there was a problem at Mini Punjab, and then Mr. Singh took over from 2021 as a DPS, and since then, there are no problems regarding the promotion of the 4 licensing objectives as till today, if I'm not wrong. So would that not give you confidence that he is promoting the 4 licensing objectives?
I take your point.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Chair.
Mr. Penchal. Thank you. Are there any other questions?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Right, Mr. Deer, you may give your, you may put your case forward.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, you've heard that about the history of these premises. This is an application for a new premises licence in a special priority area, and that's what we should concentrate on. As already mentioned, the data that was been compiled in 2015, 2020 has shown consistently, that's why it's still in place, that there are issues in that part. There are issues a lot of our special priority areas, and they're there for a reason, to protect members of the public and businesses, law-abiding businesses that want to promote the licence objectives. But it's not what it's all about. This policy was brought in. It says that the policy is intended to be strictly applied. Exemptions must be exceptional, generally exceptional. I don't see what's been offered today as generally acceptable. We've heard that Mr. Sethi is promoting the licence objectives at 27 Victoria Road. It's not in a special priority area, and he's only there up to 2 days a week. Mr. Grover has owned that shop, and one other member of staff works there, which I think there's 2 people that work there actually. Another one is that one possible circumstance is to substitute one premises for another. Well, let's not take the licence away after hard work and then give it back almost immediately because, you know, of a few conditions that have been offered. Exceptions are unlikely to be made on the grounds of that the premises will be well managed. So you shouldn't even consider that. Every premises should be well managed. They should all be a certain standard, and that's why we have minimum standards and what we expect from licensees. And if they don't behave to our satisfaction, they will be revoked, or sorry, reviewed is the word I should be looking for. It also says that there are no dwellings nearby. Well, this is a highly residential area. We've already heard that there's residences above, especially behind where we get most of our complaints from, because street drinkers buy alcohol in this premises and go round the corner and stand there and intimidate people and make loud noises. We've seen the conditions. As per our policy that we expect, as I said, the minimum 5% alcohol, further proof, and miniatures. No miniatures below 5%. Well, 5% is a double. That can go in probably about 3 seconds, I would have thought, if somebody wants to drink it that quick. Also said that the new people won't be involved in the business. Well, obviously, he's still the leaseholder at the present. Management contract won't stop him. We need the lease changed. I'm surprised a lot of these premises that come before us are not actually already prepared or so also studies show that the number of off-licensed area is a factor in the prevalence of street drinking. And in the radius of the here, one has actually closed, but there's still 1 off sales and 3 for on sales. The area already receives complaints about this premises and the street drinkers that come from it. I did put in my representation, there's nothing known about the experience of previous venues. Well, I think Mr. Sethi has agreed. He's a DPS in name at 27 Victoria Road. He's already running the other premises where he's a DPS as well. And there's nothing to say you can't be a DPS of more than one premises, and I appreciate that. But you need to be at least there and telling the staff what to do properly. And that leads me on to my the visit I made on the 9th, which was in fact 2 days before the appeal was actually withdrawn, and it wasn't the reason this was withdrawn, this license or the appeal. I went to that premises at 5 to 8 at night. At 7 o'clock, there's a condition that comes live where there should be 3 shop workers. There were only 2, and those 2 young lads in that premises were quite open. They said, their words, not mine, that they were employed by the new owner, and there was still high-strength beer on that shelf, and also in the rear storeroom. Now, obviously, I don't know what. Well, hopefully the stock's been removed now because they've been told to remove it, and it isn't in that storeroom. But my recommendation is, Chair, that this premises, I stick by my original recommendation that you refuse this application because some of the conditions we've seen are just standard. And then one last point about the licence objectives. I don't think Sergeant Cecil was saying that Mr. Sethi was reading from his plastic card that he's got, because I heard crime disorder 3 times from Mr. Panchow, and he still didn't say it. I felt like shouting out to him, crime disorder. And these are things that people should know. Mr. Sethi's been in the trade since before 2012, because that's when his licence was granted at Ealing. So that's my representation, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dare, and thank you for bringing that to our attention again. However, I will say when we started this meeting, we did say that we're going to be open and it's going to be based on the information that's presented to us by Mr. Panchal and Mr. Sethi. But thank you very much. Now, I've got hands going up for questions. Councillor Mahmood.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Dean, thank you for your recommendation. And I'm just wondering if you heard the condition 10, 12, and 16, and do you think that will not prevent things to happen which are happening there? And second thing is, do you recommend any other condition to prevent this thing happen there?
But we can't hear you. You're on mute.
My first thing would be not to grant this license. This 5.5 alcohol is or was a condition on the old license. So 5.5, a lot of street drinkers don't drink that. That's why a lot of these premises breach that condition and sell higher strength, because it's obviously a lucrative market. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mahmood, did you have another question?
Thank you, Chair. No, that's not further question on that.
Okay. Councillor Martin?
No further questions at this stage. Thanks.
Okay. Now, Mr. Panchal, do you have any questions to do?
Yeah,
or Mr. Sethi?
Yeah. My question to Bob Deere is what Mr. Councillor Mahmood asked you, what conditions would be put up to avoid to comply with the special area. That's what, if I'm not mistaken, that's what Councillor Mahmood was asking. And you said 5.5 is there. So in your opinion, 5.5 is not sufficient enough for the special area. Am I right in saying that?
5.5 is not anything to do with the special priority area. Special priority area, it's not a consideration. It's there because of crime disorder and people street drinking. That's one of the main reasons, and alcohol-related violence and other issues. 5.5 is just a policy that's where it's to start, you know, as a maximum that will be granted on other licenses. This is in a special priority area.
So 5.5, in your opinion, is there just to make sure, but it's not there to avoid to comply with the special policy area. It's not.
No, it's not. No, it's a consideration that will help it. The special priorities, they're two different things.
Sorry, you said to help it. That's where I was asking you.
No.
That 5.5 was put there to help the special area.
No. It helps it. It's one of the many things, and I think the word I used was exceptional circumstances. There's nothing exceptional that's been offered today.
In my opinion, from what I know regarding the special policy area is, we are selling 5.5, putting that condition 5.5 to make sure street drinkers don't buy those strong alcohol and only get alcohol which is 5.5 to avoid getting drunk or avoid the area of street drinkers coming down here. I think that is what my opinion is, and that is why during a special or a cumulative impact zone, we bring those conditions of 5.5, not anything else. That is what my opinion is. So I think that's what I was thinking. Again, when we say miniatures are not sold, so do you think that does not help in the special policy area if miniatures are not sold?
Councillor Mahmood asked me whether I thought there was any conditions that would basically, I took it as allay my concerns of what I've heard today or what is going forward. And no, there are no other conditions. We are in a special priority area that says rebuttable presumption to refuse. So that's it. Only exceptional circumstances should not be refused.
So in other words, what Councillor Mahmood is asking you, 10, 16 or whatever the conditions that are laid out for stronger beers, miniatures are not exceptional for the policy area.
Well, pretty candidly, Mr. Panchal, it's what you offer every application. So is that special? No, it's not special, is it?
Sorry, we don't offer every application. We only offer to the where there is an area problem, a special area or a cumulative area. That is where we offer this condition.
You offer them in every new license, Mr. Panchal.
Yeah, because we're trying to avoid the special. We're trying to avoid people getting selling those kind of products for special areas. Sorry, that's my question. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Right, are there any other questions to Mr. Deer? If that's the case, Hetty, as our legal advisor, we can go to summing up, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, thank you all for putting your case forward. We are now going to, I'm now going to invite the responsible authorities to sum up. Who wants to go first? Sergeant Kessa, to sum up?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Again, just in terms of what I've alluded to earlier in my representation, at this stage, police do have concerns due to the property being in a special priority area. There have been some indiscretions, although not linked to Mr. Singh, but in terms of the venue itself and the impact it has on the local community itself, in terms of the 4 licensing objectives, which is crime and disorder, public nuisance, and the one for me that has stuck out mostly historically with this venue is the safety of young and safeguarding young people. Also, in terms of the contract, I do understand there is a legal framework within which we operate, but my concern is that although, and I understand why Mr. Singh is doing it, but due to the fact that the contract or the license hasn't been handed over or is still in that process as such, I do have concerns that it might still be in the hands of the old applicant or the old owner. So for me, I think serious consideration needs to be taken with regards to this premise in terms of the impact it does have on the local community. And Mr. Singh hasn't really allayed my fears with regards to the understanding of the licensing objectives. And I take Mr. Panchal's point regarding about people knowing them verbatim. I'm not asking someone to know the 4 licensing principles verbatim. What I'm asking is just to have a general understanding of what they are and being able not to necessarily give the exact words of what it is, but the understanding of what the 4 licensing principles are. And those are prevention of crime and disorder, public nuisance, safeguarding young children, and of course, public safety, which we're trying to create an environment for people who live in that area to be a safe area. And whilst I understand the concept of street drinkers, etc., is never going to be down to nil, it's just about making it a lot more difficult for them to have a further impact on the local community. So therefore, Chair and panel, I ask consideration be given to these points I've alluded to, and to think really hard about issuing the license to Mr. Singh for this particular venue. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Sergeant Kessa. Thank you very much. I'm now going to ask Mr. Deer to sum up, please.
Thank you, Chair. This borough has over 1,300 premises. 48% are off licenses. So some people may say, is that why we've got such a problem with street drinking? I'm not against people getting a license within the special priority area if Sorry, I think Mr. Panchal just said something again there. If something if they come across and we don't get any complaints, but we're still getting complaints in this area, that's why I don't think it is suitable at this time to have an off license back in that shop. So I stand by my recommendation in my representation that it should be refused. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Right, Mr. Panchal, would you like to sum up now, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. I've been serving, let's put it like that. I'd like to make it very clear. I've been serving the local community, the local off licenses and premises in around the Ealing area. My majority customers are Indian origin, or let's put it like that, Asian origin, who are hardworking, who utilize, who are promoting the 4 licensing objectives. Yes, we do get problems. There are some problems when it comes to vapes and that there are people importing a huge amount of vapes which they shouldn't be in a wholesale industry, where they tend to attract these shopkeepers to purchase them because they get invoices from them when they're purchasing, when they are not allowed to do that. We do advise, and people do understand us, and they do listen to us when we put it into our own language. Like today, sorry, the chair, you had to use the language, our local language. Here, Mr. Singh has been in the off-license trade for quite a long time now. He understands the 4 licensing objectives. You heard from Mr. Wobdeer that there was a problem at Mini Punjab, which then Mr. Singh took it over in 2021. And after 2021, there has not been any problems. So that indicates that although Mr. Singh goes there 2 to 3 days, that is a responsibility of a DPS. He understands the responsibility of the DPS. And that is why there are no problems at Mini Punjab. He does understand how to promote the 4 licensing objectives, not only because we explain to him, but yes, we have explained to him in the language that is required. English is his second language, but English should be the language for them to promote the 4, which they do. But they do understand when we ask them. Here's an opportunity that he's come across with this shop. He understands what mistakes the previous owner has made. He understands that he doesn't want to make that mistake when he takes over. Here is a shop that is a local community use it, and it will not be viable for this property to go ahead if there was no alcohol license, because in today's day and age, people tend to go to the shops where alcohol is available, take the bottle of wine or cans of Foster's or whatever to take home. And I feel that Mr. Singh is capable of promoting the 4 licensing objectives. He is capable of dealing with that. And I can assure you, we are happy to have a condition put up which would say that if the license was granted, the lease documents would be, after the grant of the license, would take another 2 to 3 months, which the documents will be presented within 2 to 3 months to the licensing authority to say, here's a document for the lease that is now transferred in my name. If those documents are not transferred, or a matter is not related to the licensing authority, what the delay is going on with the lawyers or whatever, then the council would bring the license back to review and revoke the license if that does happen. So that is what our presentation is today. And we feel that the client will promote the 4 licensing objectives robustly, and the license be granted today.
Right, Mr. Panchal, thank you for summing up there. I don't know if Mr. Sethi wants to say anything. He's quite welcome to say a few words if he wants to.
Yes.
Okay, right, thank you very much. Right, if that is the case, it's now deliberation time, and this is where I have to say that I think we need about half an hour. So if we can now